What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to the final Mark 7.5 Golf, the GTI TCR. And before we move on and talk in more detail about this car, let me first explain where those three letters come from. The name of this car, TCR, comes from Touring Car Racing, which is a racing series for production-based cars that share a lot of components with their road-going versions. And one of the front-running cars in that series is, you've guessed it, the Golf GTI. So, you're probably wondering by now, what's the connection between the race car and this Golf GTI right over here? Well, good question. There isn't an obvious one apart from the name and the transmission, but that's not the point of the video I'm trying to make today. The point is, which of the two most powerful Golfs in the range would you rather have? The Golf R or this new GTI TCR? But before we do that, let's take a quick walk around of this car.
The TCR is really nothing more than a slightly upgraded GTI performance. So it has the same locking differential at the front, and it also sits 20mm lower than the standard Golf. Power is up to 290 horsepower, there's even two extra radiators to help with cooling, spring rates and damper settings have been revised, the body kit on the car is slightly larger, and in Sweden at least you get these gorgeous 19-inch wheels as standard. The interior follows the same recipe and it doesn't fall too far off from the GTI performance. There's a motorsport style red marker on the steering wheel, some Alcantara on the doors and the gear lever, and the standard GTI upholstery is replaced by something a bit more colorful. Unfortunately, the only available transmission for this car is the 7-speed DSG box.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about, VW. Finally, an exciting Mark 7.5 Golf GTI. It's very fast, this GTI TCR. It really is. Just look how quick it runs through the gears. What a great engine this is. There's no point in the rev range where it doesn't pull like crazy. I love it. Power is up to 290 horsepower, 40 more than the GTI performance. And VW's engineers did that by remapping the engine and adding a new stainless steel exhaust. Power goes to the front wheels, still via the only available transmission in this car, the excellent 7-speed DSG transmission, which is basically the only link between this special edition GTI and the TCR race car. It's a very chuckable car, this. It loves corners, and thanks to this awesome limited slip differential at the front, it handles them superbly. Just aim towards the corner, put your foot down, and the diff handles everything else for you. The steering was apparently tweaked as well to be more direct in sport mode, although the difference is so small that it's barely noticeable compared to the GTI performance. That being said, for an electric steering rack, it's pretty good. Suspension is pretty stiff, to be honest with you guys, and you can feel that even when you're just cruising around town in comfort mode. It's not really crashy or anything, but you are going to feel the difference between this and a standard GTI, for example. But when you're driving on B roads such as this one, that translates into a very stable car around corners with very little body roll. And I very much like the way this car feels like when you're on it. All the small tweaks VW's engineers did to this car make it feel like a more raw machine than the GTI performance. It's more lively, more eager to go around corners. It just feels that bit more special. And if you'd ask me, I would definitely buy one of these instead of a Golf R. Sure, the Golf R is a more capable car in bad weather, and it's definitely quicker off the line, but this TCR feels a bit more special. It feels more like a proper driver's car. Of course, this car is not perfect, so here's a few things that I'm not really sure about. First, there's the brakes that have been upgraded to handle the extra horsepower this car has. And even though they stopped this GTI pretty good in its tracks, the fade kicks in much earlier than expected, unfortunately. And mind you, I've been driving this car around B roads and not on the track. And then there's the price of the GTI TCR. In Sweden, the base price of this car is around 40,000 euros, which is very high on its own, but this car is 10% more expensive than a Honda Civic Type R. But is this car worth 10% more than a Civic Type R? Well, that's why my friends at Honda Sweden decided to lend me the Type R again, just to put it against this new GTI TCR. So if you want to see that video, make sure you're subscribed. So there you go, my friends. This is the new Golf GTI TCR. Don't look at it as a special edition GTI, because I'm not sure it really is that.
Think of it as a best-of GTI Mark 7.5. It has the best possible performance options fitted to it, it's significantly more powerful, and it's properly exciting to drive.
But that's it for today's video, my friends. I really hope you've enjoyed it. Please give it a thumbs up if you have, and make sure you're subscribed for plenty more videos to come. And until next time, take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you around.